Operation 40 was the code name for a Central Intelligence Agency-sponsored counterintelligence group composed of Cuban exiles. The group was formed to seize control of the Cuban government after the Bay of Pigs invasion. Operation 40 continued to operate unofficially until it disbanded in 1970 due to allegations that an aircraft that was carrying cocaine and heroin in support of the group crashed in California. It was approved by President Dwight D. Eisenhower in March 1960, after the January 1959 Cuban Revolution, and was presided over by Vice President Richard Nixon. The group included Frank Sturgis, Felix Rodriguez, Luis Posada Carriles, Orlando Bosch, Rafael Quintero, Virgilio Romero, Pedro Luis Diaz Lanz, Bernard Barker, and Porter Goss. Origins: on December 11, 1959, following the Cuban Revolution of January 1959, Colonel J.C. King, chief of the CIA's Western Hemisphere Division, sent a confidential memorandum to CIA Director Allen W. Dulles. King argued that in Cuba there existed a far-left dictatorship, which if allowed to remain will encourage similar actions against U.S. holdings in other Latin American countries. The group was presided over by then Vice President Richard M. Nixon and included Admiral I. L. Burt, Livingston Merchant of the State Department, National Security Advisor Gordon Gray, as well as Dulles himself. Tracy Barnes functioned as operating officer of the Cuban Task Force. He called a meeting on January 18, 1960, in his temporary office near the Lincoln Memorial. Those attending included David Etley Phillips, Jacob Jake Esterline, E. Howard Hunt, and Frank Bender, all of the CIA. Barnes, Phillips, Esterline, Hunt, David Sanchez Morales and others had previously worked together in the 1954 overthrow of Jacobo Arbenz in Guatemala, organized by the CIA under the code name Operation Success. On March 17, 1960, President Eisenhower signed a National Security Council directive on the Anti-Cuban Covert Action Program authorizing the CIA to organize, train, and equip Cuban refugees as a guerrilla force to overthrow the government of Cuban Prime Minister Fidel Castro. Operation 40 was not only involved in sabotage operations. One member, Frank Sturgis, allegedly told author Mike Canfield, this assassination group would upon orders, naturally, assassinate either members of the military or the political parties of the foreign country that you were going to infiltrate, and if necessary some of your own members who were suspected of being foreign agents. We were concentrating strictly in Cuba at that particular time. The group sought to incite civil war in Cuba against the government of Prime Minister Fidel Castro. In October 1960, they realized that this project has failed, and that is when Brigade 2506 Inches was created, a CIA-sponsored group made up of 1,511 Cuban exiles who fought in the April 1961 Bay of Pigs invasion. On April 17, 1961, Vicente Leon, with other members of Operation 40, landed at the Bay of Pigs via the CIA-chartered freighter Atlantico. He was killed in action. See also: Richard M. Bissell, Jr. CIA Kennedy Assassination Conspiracy Theory, Cuban Power, Cuban Project, Echo 31, Guillermo Hernández Cartier. Notes. Bibliography, Bonning, Don 2005. The Castro Obsession, U.S. Cover Operations Against Cuba, 1959–1965. Pages 303 ISBN 1-57488-676-2, Fonzi, Getton. 1993. The Last Investigation. ISBN 1-56025-052-6, Rodriguez, Juan Carlos. 1999. Bay of Pigs and the CIA. Ocean Press Melbourne. ISBN 1-875284-98-2. External links: Bay of Pigs, 40 Years After, Chronology. The National Security Archive. The George Washington University http://www.guidebayofpigs.chron.html